the Jet Setting Wealth Advisory Podcast, where your financial journey takes flight with David T.U. As an airline pilot and financial expert, David merges the aviation industry and wealth management to help you navigate today's complex financial skies. Each episode features expert insight, blending personal stories with essential financial strategies. We ask that you fasten your seatbelts and sit back as we prepare for takeoff. Our destination, your financial empowerment.
Hello, welcome to the Jet Setting Wealth Advisory Podcast. I'm your host, David T.U., and today we are honored and privileged to be speaking to Patricia Santayana, CPA, who is also a financial strategist and business transformation expert. As the president of Delphi Advisory Services, Patricia has dedicated her career to helping business owners shift from running a stressful job to owning a scalable, money-making machine. With a deep understanding of both the financial and operational sides of business, Patricia specializes in identifying the underlying causes of poor cash flow and profitability. And more importantly, she knows how to fix them. She's on a mission to help entrepreneurs take control of their finances, boost their revenue, and achieve financial independence. In today's episode, we'll also explore Patricia's journey as an accountant and business owner, her proven strategies for business growth, and key financial drivers that every entrepreneur needs to watch, just like a hawk. So welcome, Patricia. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So let's get started with your story. You've helped so many business owners with their businesses. What led you down to this path that you're passionate about? And did you always know that you'd be helping entrepreneurs fix their financial struggles?
So I've always been dealing with entrepreneurs. My family had a jewelry store. They still have it. And I worked in accounting throughout my life. And one of the things that I always noticed is there was always the fear of the accountant. Oh my God, the accountant's coming. There was always, a lot of times it was fears based on the unknown. So accountants give you a lot of information and they give you a lot of reports. But a lot of times business owners know how to run the business, but they don't really understand the financials. And so I saw that there was a real need for somebody who would come in and help the business owners understand their financials and help them to, number one, not be afraid of the numbers, to really understand what the numbers are saying, and to be able to make decisions based on what the numbers are telling them, and not just, really understand the numbers and grow their business based on true numbers and understanding of their financials.
Fantastic. So you talked about the difference between owning a business that runs like a machine versus one that feels like it's a never-ending job. What does that actually look like in terms of real life?
So a lot of times you get your financials and they tell a story, but if you are not able to read that story, you don't know what's going on. And your business is a machine and you have different components of that machine working. And like a washing machine, if it starts making a noise, you call a technician in, they come in and they fix it. And as a certified CFO, I come in and I listen to your business and I figure out what's not working and we help you fix it.
Okay. So, certain brands of washing machines have a built-in manufacturer's defect of some sort. And so the technicians come in and they know, it's this brand, whether it's a GE product or a Samsung product or whatever it might be, LG product, they know generally, this is the problem with this because we've fixed this 1,000 times. What do you see when you come in as the fixer? What do you see in terms of the business owners? What generally are the first, let's say, a couple of the type of mistakes or issues that business owners typically make? Can you share that with us from your experience?
So it depends on the business.
Okay.
So one of the biggest obstacles that people face is in any business is the cost of employees. And a lot of times people hire employees to do different jobs, but they really don't understand how that impacts their financials and how that will change the dynamic of the business or when is the right time to hire the next employee. And that, if you really study your financials, you will know when the time comes because your revenue will grow to such a point where you are able to afford it. And then you have to set up, okay, well, what is this next employee going to be responsible for? What task do I need to accomplish with this employee? And so that is one of the things that you look at. Second is if you have retail.
Okay.
Another thing that affects retail a lot is inventory.
Okay.
So are you having enough inventory? Do you have too much inventory? Are you turning over your inventory fast enough? Do you need to plan for ramping up your inventory at a certain time? Do you need to have money to pay for that? All of that is things that we look at. And it all goes back to cash flow. Do you have the proper cash flow to deal with everything that's coming? And that's what we look at. We manage the cash flow.
Got it. Since you're talking about cash flow, one of the things I really want to ask you about is the mistakes that people make in terms of their cash flow. Do you see any general issues there that they're making? Is it perhaps in your example, maybe they have too much inventory or they're always reinvesting in the business and they don't ever have any access cash flow to perhaps reinvest in their business or not reinvest in their business? What's your take on that?
So one of the things that I noticed that people really generally don't think of is when they're trying to make everything avoid taxes. The big topic is, oh, I'm going to avoid taxes. I'm going to avoid taxes. I'm going to buy this big expense to avoid taxes. I'm going to buy this big product to avoid taxes. I'm going to do all this stuff to avoid taxes. And the problem with that is that now your business is in debt.
Sure.
So people get into big debt in order to avoid taxes. And what that does is it cripples the business long term because the taxes are going to come due. And it's an amount that you can plan for, you can strategize for. But when you decide to create a debt to avoid the taxes, now you have an ongoing expense that's going to follow you. And it affects your cash flow long term.
Okay.
So sometimes trying to avoid the taxes can actually cause more problems than it solves.
Understood. Great. So you have said that most business owners who have made less than $100,000. This is outside of the purview here, but who make less than $100,000, which is shocking considering how much time they put into it. Why do you think that happens, and what's the key to breaking that income ceiling? It's a difficult question because you're the fixer. So
it is a very difficult question.
Yes.
And what I would say is that most business owners get stuck under 100,000 because they rely too much on hustle instead of systems. They need to create systems in their business that create the revenue coming in, and the growth is made by systems. And so if they do not have the proper systems in place, they're not able to grow to the next level.
I see. You also have talked about 3 sources of money that every business owner needs to understand. Can you walk us through that?
Okay, so the 3 different sources for business income is debt,
Okay.
which is your credit card debt, your bank loans, even your vendors. So when your vendors give you a line of credit, that's part of your debt.
Sure.
The second level is owner's investment. So this is the money that the owner puts into the business, or if they are selling stock, so they're selling a part of their business as stock, that's the owner investment. And the last one is money that is created in the business. This
Sure.
is the money that you make through sales and through investments. But this is
Yeah.
the money that's created from the business. And this is the best way to create money for your business.
Would that include the equity of the business that has been built?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. So, I'm a business owner myself, having a wealth management firm. I know how I started over 20 years ago. Scaling a business is hard. And so many business owners and entrepreneurs hit a point where growth is just stalling. What's the biggest mindset shift that they should make or need to make to break through that plateau?
A lot of times is you've never been that big. You've never, you've gotten to this point, and to get to the next level, it's such a growth, such a big hurdle that sometimes you're afraid to go to that level. And when you create systems that really just working your systems and working the process, then you're able to go to the next level.
Mhm.
And it's understanding that, yes, it's a little bit mental and a little bit of planning and systems. And usually to get to the next level, there's always some big expense that's going to come in. You reach a certain plateau, you get to the capacity. And then sometimes to get to the next level, you're going to have to invest something, or you're going to either hire a new employee, get some new equipment, even get some more training for the owners to get to the next level. And so that sometimes is what limits them.
So, what are some of the most overlooked ones that business owners should be paying attention to?
So the first one you always need to look at is your revenue. So
Absolutely.
how much money is coming in, but more important, how much are you keeping? What is your profit? And uh, if you increase your revenue and your expenses go up, at the same level, your profit isn't going to grow. And so you need to keep an eye on what is the difference between your revenue and your profit. What is it that you keep? And that is the number that people sometimes ignore.
Sure.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm at $1 million," but if your expenses are increasing at the same rate, your profit is not, is not as high as it should be.
Okay. So, how did you derive at the 16 key drivers? Because those are pretty good. I like them a lot.
Just it's understanding how cash affects each of the different areas. And within those 16 drivers, they're the drivers that drive the drivers. So the things that make those numbers grow. And
Oh,
they're in three basic categories. So we have the revenue drivers,
sure.
which are the ones that affect revenue, the profit drivers, which are the ones that affect your profit. And then finally, you have your cash flow drivers. And then
Okay.
underneath those, they're the 16. And even within those, there's the different things that affect each of those drivers.
Okay. What are some of what do you look for in terms of your ideal client? What's the basis of your ideal client?
So
Besides
my
being a
ideal
business owner, of course. Yeah.
a business owner who's been in business 2 or 3 years,
Okay.
who's struggling or who really wants to grow. And for me, the most important thing is they have to be coachable, because in the end of the day, I
Yeah.
can tell you all the things you need to do, but if
Sure.
you are not willing to do the reps and listen to the advice and do the things that are required, there's nothing I can do. You can have the best coach in the world, but if you go home and sit on the couch and don't do anything, you're not going to get better.
Would you say that would be a common mistake that smart entrepreneurs make, is they have a great coach, but they don't proceed or execute the advice?
Well, I would say what I notice is sometimes they think they don't need a coach. They're like, "Oh, I got it. I can see what it is that I need to do. I'll do it on my own."
Right.
And sometimes you're able to do that, but a lot of times you need somebody who can come in from the outside and see things that you are missing.
Absolutely.
Like when I give my example, because I'm in the fad, I am in the cold, I play pickleball. The players that get better are the ones that, number one, get a coach, and number two, drill. and do the reps and do the things that are boring, because those are the things that make the biggest difference. And it's the paying attention to where you're having a fall and working on fixing it. Because if you if you're not willing to work on your problems, or if you're willing to say, "Oh, I don't need to deal with that," it doesn't get better. And if you think that, "Oh, I can figure it all out," you don't see how you're what you're doing.
Sure. So if a business owner is in trouble for whether it's financial or poor business decisions, what's the first thing the owner should do? Get a coach, or what other advice would you give?
Number one, look at your financials and really study where you're spending your money.
Absolutely. Yes.
A lot of the time, they don't pay attention to where they're spending their money. The bigger part is your revenue, how much money is coming in.
Sure. Are there any tools or systems that you swear by for keeping a business owner financially healthy?
So what I do, the program that I offer
Sure.
is I start off with a financial assessment, and we review the financials for a client for 2 years, and we just look at it. And a lot of the times that an eye opener for the business, because they've never really just looked at their numbers and not going in to see if something is classified in the right account or if everything is journaled right. No, no, just looking at the numbers and seeing the story that it tells. What months do you sell more? What months do you have bigger expenses? Are you spending a lot on marketing? What are you spending on your employees? What is your cost of goods sold? How much inventory are you taking? How much are your payables changing? How much are your receivables changing? All those things, you have to look at everything to get the big picture of what's going on in your business. And so what I do is I try to look at that, but keep it simple.
Sure.
My business owners don't want to start getting an accounting degree. They don't want to know everything. They just want a simple picture of what's
Sure.
going on. And that's what I offer, a simple way, a simple system for them to understand what's going on and be able to improve the business.
One of the head coach of NFL, uh, they have always said this, which is keep things simple, stupid. And I follow that path, and it sounds like that's very prudent and common sense advice. Can you share a real life success story of someone who turned their business around? Do you have any stories that you like to
So
share?
I would give one that just goes to show there was a doctor that was a client from one of my associates, and he had a lot of money coming in. So he was super happy. He had a great business, a lot of money coming in, but his accountant went and was referred because eh, she figured he was spending too much money. He was wasting too much money. He wasn't managing the money right. He didn't see there was a problem because he had a lot of cash.
Mhm.
So we went in and we talked to him and we said, "Well, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't have a problem. I have a lot of cash." That wasn't even a concern of his. His concern was he wanted to do some research and he wanted to write a book. So then we went in and we said, "Okay, if that's what you want, then we need to help with your cash flow so you're able to hire a new employee to
Sure.
run the office, so that then you will have a lot of time to go and do the research to write your book." A lot of times it's not just fixing cash flow problems, but helping the business owner reach the goals that are important to them.
I see. If someone's listening right now and feeling stuck with their business, what's one thing that they can do today to start shifting toward a more profitable business?
I would say, look at your revenue drivers. Look at how your money's coming in. What leads are coming in? What is your conversion rate? What is your retention rate? What is your purchase frequency rate? What is your average transaction value? Are those things in line with what your industry is doing or what is done by others in your industry? Any of those things would affect how much money you have coming in.
Sure, absolutely. That makes plenty of sense there. So, if you had to give advice to a business owner that is in financial services, what would you give?
For me, the problem is that every business is different, and
Sure.
every business's goals are different. Some business owners, they just want enough money so that they can go on vacation, have a little extra money in the bank, and they just have simple goals. Their what their success is very different to somebody who maybe wants to scale up, have 20 offices, have 50 employees, have a big bank of business and do all that stuff. So the advice is hard to give because everybody's goals are different. And so what I specialize in is going into the business and
Okay.
figuring out what the business owner wants
Okay.
and help them reach their goals because success for everybody is different. And what makes one person super happy, maybe one person wants 1,000 clients and a big business and 20 employees and all that stuff, and somebody else is like, I just want 20 great clients that pay well and that I can live and be happy with. So
Okay.
it's a matter of looking at what your goals are, what the business owner's goals are, and how we can work together to get you to your goals. That's what I specialize in.
Fantastic. So before we wrap up, where can people connect with you and learn more about your work and the services that you provide?
Okay, so you can find me at delphiadvisoryservices.com.
Perfect.
And if you
That'll
are
be
interested,
on the screen. That'll be on the screen. Okay.
and if you would like to find out what are the 16 drivers and get a PDF with all the information, examples of all the drivers, and everything that each of the drivers entails, you can go to delphiadvisoryservices.com/parts, and I will get your information and I will send you the PDF with that
Fantastic.
information for you.
Fantastic. One more thing is, what is your business email address that you would like to share with all the viewers and the listeners?
So it's Patricia at delphiadvisoryservices.com.
Fantastic.
Business growth is what you want. If you want a big business, I can help you create that. And if you want a business that will take care of your family and keep you happy and let you have control of what is important to you, I can help you with that as well.
Fantastic. I appreciate you, Patricia. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Jet Setting Wealth Advisory Podcast. A very special thank you to Patricia Santayana, CPA, for sharing her expertise on financial success and business transformation. If you'd like to connect with Patricia, it's already in your screen. Once again, it will be at the bottom of the screen for those that are viewers. I'm David Yu, airline pilot, founder, and wealth advisor of DTY Wealth Planning Solutions. If you enjoyed this episode, we ask that you subscribe and leave a review and share it with business owners looking to turn their companies into a thriving, profitable enterprise. Until next time, stay the course, think strategically, and continue building your wealth with confidence and purpose. Thank you and goodbye.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.